How's it going, everyone? My name is Mike and welcome back to part 2 of How I YouTube. So this one is about the tech. Last time I done the recording and everything of what equipment I use: webcam, hard drive, Elgatos, Macs, TVs, all of that kind of jazz. Oh, headset, don't forget the headset. That's all the stuff that I showed you what I use to make the videos, but now I'm going to show you the stuff that is actually making the videos, the thumbnails, the recordings, the editing, all that stuff. It's all down here on my bar, so I'm going to go through one by one and just show you. This is what I use. If you use anything else, let me know in the comments. If you want some more detail on them, or like pros and cons, again, just comment and let me know, and I'll gladly help you out. So I'm just going to start off actually with what I use as my editing tool, so everything I make the videos with that you watch, and that's Final Cut Pro. So I originally started with iMovie, but this was way back in like April last year. Oh no, that wasn't actually. I used it in February last year, so pretty much a year ago I used iMovie. This is a free editing tool that comes with all Macs, and I used it on my MacBook Pro Air, and when I was on holiday in America, and I used that for my vlogging channel. If no one's seen it, then the links are in below. I've got some cool stuff on there, hey. And yeah, so that's what I used. Final Cut Pro I then upgraded in April of that year, and it's kind of like the big brother. It's just got a few extra things to it, but it plays and it works on a par. They're pretty much the same thing, but I prefer it, and it was much more easier to use than I've learned with that now for like the last year. So Final Cut Pro, I'm going to show you an edit of one video that I've made, which is the electronic Superjoy. That's it, isn't it? Yeah, so I've got two parts here. This is Electronic Superboy. This is what kind of a heavy edit looks like. I think I can zoom out a bit more. Yeah, this is what like a heavy edit looks like of a video. This took me probably like a couple of hours just to get it right. And yeah, most videos would normally take me about an hour to edit once I've recorded and uploaded everything into it, kind of. But with the export and then the other programs I use later on, which I'll show you, it could probably be around a 2-hour process before I can move on to the next one or make sure it's fine. So if no one has seen Final Cut Pro, this is the interface of it, and this is what my timeline looks like for this video. I've got no sound playing through the system at the moment, so you won't hear anything that goes on in here. I can hear it, but it won't be coming through on this recording. This is kind of how I work. It looks cluttered, but actually it makes a lot of sense, and if you zoom right in, you can break it up a lot more. You can see how it works, and these will be my visuals. So this is my face up in the corner, this will be my footage, so all the recordings, and then this will be the audio of the footage. I like to have them separate. This is normally linked, like if I grab and drop it, this is normally linked into there, but no, we don't do that. I don't know why that's gone in there, but there you go. And so this is what an edit looks like in Final Cut Pro. I think the program's really easy to use. It has loads of pros and cons. It does have pros and cons like everything. I mean, it's probably not as good as Adobe Premiere Pro. Like, I would like to upgrade to it, and I have done a trial because I do have Adobe CC, but it's hit and miss really. It takes a lot more practice, and I don't have the time to sit there and kind of teach myself to do it. Maybe one day, but not today. So I just use Final Cut Pro, and for gaming kind of stuff, it's really simple to use, and I can't complain. So if you've got any comments on that, if you want to kind of upgrade or move over to it, then let me know and I'll give you some tips and tricks. So that's what an edit looks like. That's like, not all look like that. Some are a lot easier. Some are literally one whole bar, not edited across, all the way across, no jump cuts, audio's all in sync. You know, I can't complain. So let's quit out of that. We'll just make sure we close stuff so nothing crashes. Oh, I should automatically get like loads of comments and thumbs up for this custom made wallpaper. Yeah, I've done it myself in Photoshop. It's all these I got from a website which were free to download and use, and I just kind of put them together in this kind of little montage of people. I think it looks pretty good. Anyway, moving on. Game Capture HD, that'll be the next one. That's what you download to link with your Elgato device, so your recordings. This is the actual program you use. So here is my Xbox is on at the moment. It's dark because it's been on for a while. You see this is being recorded now for like 6 minutes before I start the actual video. This is what the recording interface looks like from here. So down the side it's telling you what you're using. You can set the game audio. You just keep it on 0 dB, because if you're doing post edit you can then increase it or decrease it. I mean, I wouldn't put it any higher, and you definitely don't want it muted. I've accidentally done that before and you don't get any audio. It is muted, so you don't want that. Put it back to 0. Live streaming, if you want to link your account to there. I think I might be able to do this through YouTube. Something I'll have to look into, but I do want to try and do some live streams in the future, but I don't know what game of. But this will be, I think, linked through that. I can use that because you need a program to do it. Live commentary as well, which will probably go through to the streaming. You can name your video titles and games. These are not mine, I didn't name them. They literally, actually, they're the standard that when you load up the thing, they just come in saying Pac-Man for some reason. But I just leave them empty, or I leave them as Pac-Man because I delete them afterwards. So over here is your record. This is literally what you press, and in a way this goes. There is a time delay from this, what you see on the TV, to what you see on here. So you got to make sure you line that up once you've done the, when you import it all into your editing program. But you can go back and forth between your footage here if you want, and you can pause it and then restart somewhere else. This just mutes the program, so if audio would come through my speaker right now, but I click that, turn it off. If you want a thumbnail, there you go, click that, and that's your live commentary and your streaming buttons if you go through that process. So let's go to edit. This is once you've hit stop record, it will load it up into here. It will put it here and you'll get a nice little timeline. You can cut, delete, edit, zoom in here and do some post editing. I've never used it. I won't probably ever use it because I don't want to screw up my editing here when I can do it all in Final Cut. But it gives you all the extra stuff here. You can do screenshots again, check the audio, automatically share it. This is where the video will be propped up, so you can take it from there and put it on your desktop or into a folder, right click it, and I can reveal it in my browser, and I can see like I can separate the audio, images, scripts, the sequences. I can do all that, so that's good. But this is what Game Capture looks like for Elgato. Real simple. Literally, I used two things, which is make sure your settings are correct first of all when you first load it up. Hit record, end record, and then just drag and drop my saved file. Bosh. Next on the list is QuickTime, which is what I'm using now for this screen recording. This is kind of linked to this app, which is actually called Soundflower, but this is a Soundflower bed. This is the part of it. So QuickTime starts up here. I'm using the screen recording now, so I can't do another one. But I use the movie recording for the visual that you see of my face. So this is linked to my webcam. Then I will just export and save that once it's done. These normally come out quite high gigabyte, so I'll show you the program I use to cut all this down. Audio recording is what I use in sync with screen recording. So the issue with doing a screen recording is you can record the audio. If I just clicked audio, it depends on what setting you've got your sound linked up to, because you can only record one audio at a time, and that is either internally through your speakers, which will then sync in through your screen recording, or if you have your headset plugged in, it will either come through there. So it's one or the other. That's where Soundflower comes in. Come on, no. That's where Soundflower comes in. I won't click on it because it doesn't actually load anything. What that does is that puts the audio through that app and it splits it, so then it will go through your internal and your headset, so you can also hear but also record. Either way, if you don't have that, you're at it with Mac. That's what it's only for Mac that it does this. It will hit and miss, and you already get one audio from somewhere, so you can either play the game, record the audio and not hear it and not know what you're playing, or visual cues and audio cues and all that stuff. So everything goes through Soundflower. It's automatic actually. When I do screen recording and turn on audio recording, it automatically goes through there, and also it does it when I plug in my headset through the back of my Mac. It will automatically link through to go through Soundflower, which is quite good. If I don't have anything plugged in, the sound and everything will just come through my Mac speakers as normal. This here is my Logitech Camera free app. It just, from the app thing, it just it links into my webcam, and I can select like my brightness, my contrast. I can zoom in a bit, saturations. I can just edit little things if it's not too good. I use it sometimes depending on the lighting in my room, but other than that, it's just a free app. It's good to use. Like, you can't control your brightness so much compared to using this. Okay, next one. Handbrake. This is a good little app for compressing files. Okay, so when I first started out doing videos, anyone who's kind of been around since I started in like August 2015 and those like 3 months up to 2016 will notice that like my upload days were a bit random, they weren't often, and that was because files, once they were exported, were really high meg. Now I live in a little village out in the middle of nowhere and upload speed is not the best, so if I'm trying to upload a 10 meg file in the middle of nowhere, it's going to take like 2 days to upload. I mean, like I was hitting like 700 minutes on an upload, I think was about it, maybe more sometimes, and yeah, that's just not good. You know, how are you gonna keep a constant upload when you got 700 minutes and you have to wait? So I would put it on at night and I would like make more videos and then edit through the day, and by the next like couple of days later I'll have another video ready to upload. Sometimes I try to push it and have 2 uploads at the same time, but yeah, everyone just complained that the internet wasn't working because I was taking up all of it. So I did a little research and I found this free app called Handbrake. Now what I do is, these aren't the default settings I have. The default settings I have are, I've got it already set here on YouTube, but it won't come up unless I push something through it and get a source in here. But what it will do is I find the file I want. This is one, for example. This is the setup one that you guys have watched, the part 1 of this series. What it would do is it would just link it through here and it will compress a file from anything down to nothing. Normally the files when I'm recording on my webcam is recording visual and audio. It comes out like QuickTime really ramps up the gigabyte. Like 20 minutes will probably be like 30 gigs, and you can't be having a 30 gig file, 1 in your hard drive or 2 in like importing and exporting it. It will take so long to render. So what I do is I put anything that's about 4 meg, I put through this and it'll knock it down to about 2. Sometimes it knocks it down to megabytes, but you gotta be careful because you might lose a bit of quality. But as long as it keeps it constant, it doesn't actually lose any quality or frame rates, as long as you've got the settings correct. So normally I can probably point some things out. This RF thing here I have at 22. These are settings that I've researched and looked on the website and figured out, oh, these work for me and they get a good, you know, compression time. So these are 22. I keep these the same. You want a variable frame rate, you know, you can put this to about fast or very fast. You know, most things will take about, on average, depending on the gig, once they've exported or how they're saved, probably like an average of 20 minutes to compress. Once they've compressed, I preview them and check that they're all okay, and if they are, then I delete the original and I save the new one, and then I've saved probably like what 28 gigs worth of like memory. This stuff along here, the chapters, subtitles, audio, I don't even touch that stuff. I mean, you can change the bit rate that I've read, but I found no issues with it, as long as like web optimized, because that's good for YouTube, MP4s, this, as long as all that, you can compress files and they'll be good size. So that's this is like my most handy thing that I have. I mean, I'm putting this up there of like top 3 of what I use, so quit that. Okay, next up, Audacity. I'm guessing a lot of you may have heard or used this. This is what I'm using right about now to record my voice. Again, this is another free app. Really handy. This is literally just plug your mic in and all your audio will sync through to this, as long as you've got it selected up here. So I'm speaking through my Yeti stereo now, and literally all you do is hit record, do what you need to do, stop, and then file export or file save, or well, it's actually export, and then it's good and it works, and choose what kind of file type you want it. Yeah, I don't know much more I can say about this. It's just, if you don't have a webcam, that you don't want to be recording through your webcam, or your the audio through your webcam via your, like if you have a Logitech or your independent webcam or your inbuilt PC Mac ones, because you're just going to get that like space kind of in between each one. You got to have your professional camera. Sound is important, and if people can hear you clearly, that's what makes a great video. And Audacity is great for using that through your microphone, because you need an application to record your stuff. Though my mic, if I'm not showing my face, I use Audacity. if I'm using my webcam for visual use, I can also link my microphone through that. So automatically my audio and my visual of my face are synced. So that's how I record. I won't use Audacity at the same time as them. That's just another program added that I don't need, and 2 lots of audio running is just it's worthless. So Audacity, great little app. Photoshop, we will open Photoshop. I use this for all of my thumbnails. Now I used to be a graphic designer, so I kind of know what I'm doing. Every thumbnail I pretty much do is in a way custom. I use like either a cinematic shot from the game, or I make my own. And for example, making my own is this one here. So the setup series, How I YouTube, that there, I've got 2 of them. This is the one that we're talking about now. All of it is here down the right hand side, sorry, and it's all custom made by me. I've done everything. I find all this stuff. It's all free on YouTube, little icons and stuff. There you go, look, Handbrake, look, perfect. Does it look like it? I think that's pretty good. I mean, I can't complain, you know, and I take pride in doing thumbnails. It's what catches your eye. If you're going to have one of the default, I'll say this now, if you use one of the default thumbnails as your video, you're not going to go anywhere. You need to have an enticing picture. That's what captures everyone's eye, okay? Now, if you don't want to, I pay for Photoshop because I'm like that. I'm not going to scab out and try and find a fake copy. If you don't want to do Photoshop, or you can't afford it, which is I'm going to go you, some people can't, then there's a free one called GIMP, so GIMP. Now I used to use this back in the day, actually, like many years ago, but it's free, and it's pre Photoshop. They're pretty much the same. There's obviously a couple of different things you have to learn, settings, menus, but if you want to get what you see here, you can do that in GIMP, easy enough. So if you want to get a free app and not want to pay for Creative Cloud, or be like someone and just download it and like not pay for it, and you just download GIMP. It's a good app and it's free, but I like using Photoshop because I used it for many years and I know how to do it, and I can get the best thing out of it, and that's how you get custom things. See, little things like that. Got my channel up in there, which I think I can take out, can't I? Yeah, see, little things like that, webcams, mics, all this stuff's found on YouTube, and this took me 10 minutes to make. As long as I have the idea of what I want to do, it shouldn't take me too long. All others are just use a screenshot and text. I find the logo, put it into Photoshop, find if you want some like fonts, really good fonts, go to DAFONT, that's DaFont, and people make fonts and you can just download them all for free, and stuff like what I've got here, that was probably off there, easy to use, easy to download, and you can get loads of stuff from them. So Photoshop, done. No, we don't need to save because I didn't change anything. I think, other than this, we're going to do this one now. That'll be it. So Libre Office. This is the Mac version of Excel. So you don't get Excel with Macs because it's Apple and not Microsoft. You have to download it and pay for it, I think. So I have downloaded LibreOffice, which is free. Obviously, you can donate, so it's always worth donating to like companies like this because this thing is really good. Now, I've zoomed into a part of this. I'm not going to show you any more than this because obviously I've got things over the other side, which I can probably just flick it to the right a little bit. Can I flick it to the right? There we go. See, that's kind of what it looks like, but I'll explain it. Left hand side, I have this darker black line here. I have it locked. Now I've got, I know I'm not using from number 1 to 9, but when I have this properly zoomed in, so you can see I'm at 162% here. When I'm at 100%, my eye line is kind of there and it's not up there when this loads up. So I have it a little bit way down. This is how I keep track of everything I'm doing, and I cannot stress enough, if you do not have this, you will not get far. You will lose track of what you've done. You will be constantly wasting time checking your YouTube, checking your hard drive files, or wherever you keep your stuff, on what you've recorded, on what you've edited, what you've uploaded, what you've finished, when stuff's coming out. Having a thing like this is a must. So I started out I did this the first day, or the first like week when I started planning my YouTube channel. I downloaded this, and I started it out, and everything from down here. So to start off, I got my key. Now I use color coding for everything when I'm doing my processes. So if something's blank, for an example, Mondays with Mike, episode 3, I haven't done it yet, so I have it blank, and that means to me that it needs to be started at some point. I don't have a date of when to do it. I kind of do stuff as I go along. I keep track of what I've got to do, and I just do it. I don't have days of when I'm going to record things. It's just when I get around to doing them, and when I know I want to do them, I do it. And I have stuff to do now, but I've actually brought this setup and other things ahead of it, and then I'll keep track of it here. Once I have gone through the process of like capturing all the stuff, I will normally change it to blue. So there's no blue here, but if I go across one, because this is fine, I've got a blue here. So I've got and I label everything so I know what it is. It's there. Episode 2, part 2. That's recorded. I know now that I've recorded that footage. I don't need to question it. I know I've recorded it. Once I've recorded something, I automatically, and I never leave it. I don't care if I have to go out somewhere. I automatically save them and start compressing them. Move them into hard drives, because if I don't do that, I've done it a few times where I have kind of left it or forgotten what I've done. You have to do a lot of checking, and I have actually deleted the wrong thing before and been like, what? Oh, why is that like 6 meg when it should be like 2 meg? So I always make sure I compress stuff and file it before I start editing. I need to anyway, because I don't want to edit massive files. So most stuff will turn to blue. If by chance I've then imported everything into Final Cut Pro and I start editing it and then I get called away, or I have to go do something, or I go out, then I will change it to this lighter green color. So I know that it's already in the editing process. I don't need to double check myself again. I just relay back to this, and I'm like, okay, I've started that. I can go back to it. Once I've finished it and it's gone into exported, because sometimes I might not automatically upload something, I will export it and I'll change it to this yellow. So now I know that I've completed it and it's saved in my files. I don't need to again question anything. It's exported, but I know it's not uploaded. If I go from exporting and I go straight to uploading something, I'll just change it to green. During the uploading process and it being uploaded, it'll just go to green. So as of right now, if I put this on YouTube and I uploaded it and it was saying, oh, it's going to take 100 minutes, I would be like, right, change that to green. You know, as soon as I put it on YouTube to upload, it goes green. So because I'm not going to cancel it, there's no point. If I don't want the video to be shown, you can unlist it, private it, do whatever you want with it. If you do, just have it public. After that, this is the complete. This is only used once the series is complete, not an episode or a part. So here we go. TFTB, if no one knows what that is, that's Tales from the Borderlands. That is complete. So I've put a red above it. Don't need to worry about it anymore. By the way, these other ones that are showing up, this actually goes really, really far. It's just obviously some of there that I don't want people to see, or like you guys to see, because it's like stuff that hasn't come out yet and it's all hidden. So as you can see, Tales from the Borderland, if I scroll down, that is complete. Down there, everything's green, all done. I don't have nothing else to do on it. It goes red, but I will not remove this thing. I'll keep it there so I know what I've done. I know that I've done this game, and I don't need to do anything more of it. At one point I might forget that I've done a game, and this is worth just flicking through and remembering what I've done. So everything I've done, giveaways, which I don't know why that's capitals, but this is like Excel, so anything you do you can just edit it. So here we go, look, delete, giveaways, bosh, done, edited. And this is what I use it for. I don't really do anything else. It's literally I just put everything in, make a new column, color code it, type it in, easy. To-do list, this is games that I want to play, main releases. This isn't anything to do with the little things that come along that I spot or come up on Steam or arcades and stuff. These are main releases that I want to try and cover. But this is Libre Office, check it out. Really good for keeping track of everything. If you're not keeping track of anything, how do you know what you've done and where you're going? Last but not least, I'm going to probably again pixelate and fuzz out some things of here, but I'm going to show you the kind of organization I have on my hard drive. And again, if you don't have any organization of this stuff and you're just leaving it scattered on your desktop, you're not going to get far. So fuzzy out some of them. I've already opened a file here, Electronic Superjoy, and these are kind of the files that I have. I mean, there is a few extras and most of them have them, but I may not use them all. But I name and file everything. pretty much. So I have nothing in audio. Audio will simply be if I'm using Audacity, bosh, it goes into audio. Footage, this is what I call the game that I recorded. That is the footage I've recorded. That will go here, okay? And everything's named and labeled properly. I know what the game is, I know what part it is, and I know what it is. You know, if that makes sense. It's electronic super joy. It's the first part, and it's the footage of that. Everything will be the same, but it'll just have a different ending. So if I then go to images, there we go. Elect super joy, part 1, but this is the thumbnail. Upload, electronic super joy, part 1. This is the upload. Sorry, I meant to say PNG, thumbnail. I don't know what I said. I can't remember if I'm repeating myself or not now. The upload. Visual, this is my face. So visual I call is the picture of me, not the gameplay me. But I've got a visual dash audio here because obviously I link my audio through my QuickTime and my webcam, so it syncs it all up in one. So I call it, when I label it, I call it VA. I also have a GA, which is game audio. That's the one when I'm playing something on the Mac, and that's the QuickTime audio and screen thing combined, because that's how I do it. So I call it GA because they say for the same thing. Video. So yeah, and then again, elect, I just shortened it because it would get too long. Super Joy part 1, VA 1, and then I got VA 2 because it's part 1. Obviously I had to record 2 different parts for some reason, and then there's part 2 VA. Easy, simple. I mean, all my other files are exactly the same. It's all like that, and they're all labeled, and I can link and import what I want and know what I'm importing. If stuff isn't labeled right, how do you know what you're doing? And it's the same as using like the Libre Office I do. If I don't know what I've recorded, how do I know not to do it again? How do I know where it's filed? All the names, this says Electronic Superboy, I can change that. This here is my library for that, so if I double click that, Final Cut Pro will open, and this is where what I showed you in Final Cut Pro. This is where these edits and parts and projects and events, blah blah blah, that's all where it will be. So yeah, that's kind of how I work and what I use, and I hope you enjoy that, guys. If you have any questions on the programs or the processes I use, just ask in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer them or give you pros and cons and tips and all that stuff. And as always, remember to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you again soon for the next video. Peace.